Hey world, 9 minutes motivation at 9 a.m. is inspired by me and sponsored by happy customers. Happy customers keeps your customers happy. I am Deepak here, and my life was beautiful and I stay on top of the world because I work as worship. Last couple of days, I've been addressing students from 10th standard and 12th standard as they are coming close to their board examination. Of course, good news is from I think next year onwards there will be no 10th board exams as per the new education policy. Straight away it will be going to 12th boards. Good news. Anyway, a lot of things I share about. So when I address 10th standard, 12th standard students, I especially speak about how to improve their marks, how to score high in the examination. And there are some study techniques by which you can do. Very beautiful sessions. Always it happens every year in this period. One part I think I'll share with all of you. It's a very general learning, a general insight, which actually can be helpful to all of us. Memory is a very powerful tool that we all have. Most people think they do not have a powerful memory or a good memory. That's not the truth. It's a myth. We all have a great memory. We all are born with great memory, but it has to be practiced. It's a skill that you can develop. The problem with memory is it's not that we do not have good memory. For most of us, the problem is recalling. We're not able to recall it. That moment we can't recall it because of the stress or blackout, whatever happens to a lot of people, especially in studies and examinations, and daily also. Most of us do not have a great memory. In fact, we start losing our memory as we grow in age. I'll give a simple understanding which I understood long time back. When I was working in a small workshop after completing my engineering, every morning the helper will come and lubricate all the machines with oil and grease every day. So one day I asked him, why will you do it every day? The helper tasked telling me, sir, last night 8 o'clock we closed the workshop, machines are shut. And today morning 8 o'clock we start the machine. So 12 hours machines are under rest. So if we straight away start, there will be no lubrication and there will be wear and tear in the machine parts and we might lose the precision in the output. So lubrication is must every morning. So machine parts can work absolutely freely. I said, absolutely. Agreed. Fair enough. Similarly, our body is also a mechanism. Too much of machinery inside keeps working. Tremendous amount of mechanism, dynamic activities keep happening. So when we finish our dinner in the last previous night and go to sleep, next day morning when we wake up, there's almost a gap of 10 to 12 hours between the last dinner, a previous meal, and the next meal that is going to be, that's why it's called break fast. Okay, fasting for 10 to 12 hours. Now, when you get up in the morning, the machinery in the system in the body has to start working, the mechanism has to get going, all those voluntary functions which we have to do by ourselves, and even those involuntary functions. So what happens? The brain in the morning releases a chemical, releases a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. When acetylcholine is released in the system, it has to mix up with the food in the stomach. Then the blood absorbs it and takes it to all the function, all the body parts. That's how all the body parts or all the mechanisms inside all the systems starts performing to the peak. Now, what happens here is when acetylcholine is released every morning, it needs food in the stomach. If people do not eat breakfast, or those people who do not eat breakfast, they will suffer a lot instantly with memory and later with health issues. Neurotransmitter that acetylcholine when it is released inside, if there is no food in the stomach to be mixed up for it to be absorbed by the blood through the intestines, the acetylcholine in the absence of the food stays in the stomach for a little longer time. It turns into acid. And we all know acid has a strange property. It's very acidic in nature, it is dangerous. It starts eating in the container in which it is contained. And we are all made of leather, chamdi hai pura. It starts eating the lining of the stomach. So the acid starts eating the lining of the stomach, intestine. That is how eventually you will have acidity issue, you will have hyperacidity, you will have foul smell, you will have heartburns, you will have reflexes, all these things Eventually, it can continue further, and we can have appendicitis problem, and later a lot of things can happen. You know that stomach is not okay, everything goes for a toss. Just a simple practice to have breakfast on a right time every day without missing on that meal. You can do a lot good to yourself. That is why most of the students who, because they do not eat breakfast, because whatever reasons they're getting late or they don't like it and it's not tasty, they avoid the entire thing and straight away in the first recess, sometimes they finish the breakfast as a breakfast box as a lunch or lunch box as a breakfast, and they eat only by around 11:30, 12 o'clock. No, that much time they stay hungry. Now what happens? Most of the students, when the stress of exams will come, they go blackout. And because of that blackout, what all they have memorized, they are unable to remember. The problem is not with the remembering, problem is with the recalling. And for recalling, you need that extra strength, energy from the brain side. And that comes from your acetylcholine, which cannot function in the absence of food. That's why your breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And I think that's the challenge for most of us. Even if you're working people, if you have that urgency, or few people have this belief of straight away having brunch, because they straight away have 11:30 brunch and then evening 6:30 dinner karta hai. I think whatever is your understanding about food, but one thing is very clear: the brain every morning will release that neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. If you give some food, it's good for you. Whatever belief with which you eat food, and you delay the food, you have to be ready for the consequences that you might have to suffer eventually. Because if the memory loss keeps happening, the next level or the ultimate level is Alzheimer's, where you start forgetting your own self. It can be tragic. And what you have to do is just a simple practice from today onwards. No matter what, there will be some food in your stomach in the morning. It can be fruits, it can be juices, it can be anything, that some solid should go inside, so that acetylcholine has to mix it up. If you cannot do that, I think you're calling for some unwanted, unwarranted, unneeded problem in your life. So if you want to have a great memory, if you want to have, of course, today I'm not discussing about how to recall the memory, how to do that practice is required. Those are very interested. Next time, whenever we have how to score high in board examination, do join it, or maybe uh, ask me questions on that. I'll explain to you, maybe through 9 months motivation, or maybe Sampurna, or maybe some session can be done how to improve memory. But one beautiful, I won't say trick, but one beautiful necessary element in developing your memory and to have a good memory throughout your life is in ensuring that we will have good breakfast every morning, no matter what your reasons are, what your excuses are. But the reality is, the truth is, acetylcholine doesn't care whether you eat or not. It will continue to release itself, and then it keep becoming acid for you, and then you have to suffer. You can enjoy just by eating some breakfast, and there is so much of variety of breakfasts. So decide, if you're not had breakfast yet, what is the plan for you? Idli, dosa, rice, or sandwiches? But something to start with. With this belief, you will never miss a breakfast from now onwards. We start this day. Here we go. So guys, go set and grow. मुझको गिले है मिल